Welcome to the SFWA Quarterly Open Mic, sponsored by the Poetry Committee. I'm your host, Wendy Van Camp, and I'm thrilled to share the space with you to celebrate poetic voices in our community. Tonight's event is part of the SWFA Events Experience, where members and attendees come together to share their work, whether published or unpublished. I hope you'll join us for the private readings and meetup each quarter. Our October 2024 featured poet is Sumiko Saulson. Sumiko is the Elgin Award and Bram Stoker nominated author of The Rat King, a book of dark poetry, their novel Sonomnia, The Metamorphosis of Flynn Cayley, is available on Mocha
Keahi.
Memoirs. What?
Sorry, Keahi.
Sorry about that, Sumiko. It's available on Mocha Memoirs Press, and their latest book of verse, Melancholia, a book of dark poetry, is out on Bludgeoned Girls Press. Thank you for joining us, Sumiko, and we look forward to your featured reading.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I had to get my cousin who's Hawaiian to help me pronounce Keahi correctly, because it's a Hawaiian name. Okay, so I loved all of your wonderful readings. Very talented people. Okay, so I am going to be reading from Melancholia, a book of dark poetry. Ooh, there, hold it down there so you can see it. So the first thing I'm reading is called Mouth Sounds. Mouth sounds. Sometimes they rhyme, but not all the time. It was good enough for Poe, you know? Vibrato is the sound that makes my lips and tongue collide. Spitting vomit, blood word salad, crushing glass syllables into slithering stanzas, panicked attempts at consonants, asinine assemblages of assonance, sobbing phlegmy words out onto clean white sheets, blood-stained fingers meet paper-cutting journal pages, spitting verse at my cell phone like a MySpace rapper. Victorians did it without auto-tune. How can we take this form seriously? Horror poems, so necromantic. Goblins and ghouls haunt the cemeteries, gnawing at the bones of William Burroughs. So yeah, other people had some things about the process of writing poems, so I thought I would be one of the cool kids and do it also. So okay. Um, this is this one I wrote actually on Mother's Day. So my parents have been gone for a while. My mother died in January 2019, and my father in January 2013. So I wrote this about my relationship with my mother in particular, but my parents in general, on Mother's Day this year. My body is a house made of ghosts. I spent an eternity grieving, a lifetime over and underachieving, because you left me without a sound, without a word, without a voice, because you left me without leaving. When assonance becomes dissonance, cognitive or otherwise, gears spinning endlessly in broken minds, I fear the gear shift. I hear the sound slip. Time is broken. It cannot be fixed. This is not merely a trick of shadow and light. It is fight or flight denied. Revisionist shadows of a past unchanged, because you left me without leaving. Children don't become our parents. The shadows we cast are small. This isn't a trick of light or sound, because you left me without leaving. You are cast in my DNA, a fixture in my mitochondria, a memory in my mirror, every line, every wrinkle. Every change, I look more like you every day. I found my voice. I sound like you. I walk the earth, and you're two immortals, deathless in death, zombies and ghosts. You haunt all my corners, and I watch you weave cobwebs, a lifetime spent grieving, for you left without leaving. So I do feel that as a horror poet here on Halloween, I should probably do some things that are, explicitly horror poetry, which, is something that some people feel like they've never heard of, but you probably all have heard of Edgar Allan Poe. So, the yeah, big famous horror poet. Uh, so I'm gonna put some actually just horror poetry out there. Mm. Victorian Cotillion, a series of dolls on shelves pirouette. She looks down at her feet, refusing to make contact with shiny glass eyes that would not compromise porcelain skin unbending. To stare at any of them might entrance, create invitations to the dance. Blood jewel dripping encrusted chin, the dolls in miniature ball gowns from last year's cotillion. Mother said they were women once, before they were taken down to size, illuminated by the hallway sconce in velvet and lace, on the mantel placed. If mother was locked up, then so would they be, behind glass cabinet doors, under lock and key, all the girls from the debutante ball who didn't accept father's hand in marriage. Okay. uh, I feel like this is a pretty good horror poem. I'm gonna probably put my glasses on and see what time it is in a minute. Nope, I think I'm okay. Soliloquy of the Shapeshifter. The coming together, the tearing apart, the collection of skin tags, a fine work of art, shrugging off the husk, which is dropped to the floor and left in the corner, a cloak of red gore. That once was me, yet is no more, but a fleshy red flower that is mine to devour, removing all of its earthly evidence with a glorious intake of nutritional recompense. Be it by claw or fang touched prey, the claiming of substance and shape, orally consumed through skin subsumed, the moment that the skin is breached, the essence and the form is leached, the devouring, the corpse, it is left behind until both flesh and form are mine. I've experienced there are so many things aloft in skies on falcons' wings. On many creatures I have dined and worn their faces in my time, living forever through their deaths, shape-shifting every time I eat flesh. For many years I've had pasta and wine, looked in the mirror as this body aged. Tonight a new form I have chosen at last. This prey roams free, beyond a cage, reading its eulogy on the page. Okay. Okay, cool. Um, I'm glad you like the horror poems. This is about a scary creature that lives in my house. It's not a ghost though. This was originally published in the Horror Zine in fall of 2023, before it made its way into this book of poetry. Mercurial creature, a deep-seated growling, a threatening purr. Haunches rise under hackles of electric fur. I, in servitude, offer flesh in a bowl. Vigorously I stroke you, Pet names I extol, hissing and crouching, your tail growing stiff. You complain as you paw at the feast in your dish. I see the disdain as I look in your eye and remember your kind might eat me when I die. I run and fetch your favorite toy, a string tipped with a bell and a gray mouse shaped ball. For a moment, you engage, but soon tire of it all. Your fury is adorable, as you're so small. If you'd a spell, you'd grow larger, the tables you'd turn. I'd pay for this bowl of cold food you have spurned. We worship you in temples you haven't forgotten. You're tired of this restaurant. The service is rotten. My offerings many you hold in disdain. I can hear my bones cracking as my blood starts to drain, flesh stripped from my bone, as you engage in your feast, for the last time providing a meal to my beast. And that is for my darling cat, Marla. She's usually on my shoulder, but right now she's outside because she's almost 16, but she's still an indoor outdoor cat. Um, okay. I have more time. So I'm gonna now go away from the really scary horror stuff into stuff that's a little more like paranormal and romantic and stuff. Yeah. This one's called The Dormouse is Dreaming. So a little slight bit of history on this one. There was something called Daring and Scaring that came out like last year from the HWA, which was like short stories for children. And they told us to go into the public domain and come up with something from that. And I started to write something that was based on Alice in Wonderland. But then I didn't like meet the deadline, so I just turned it into a poem. But yeah, anyway, this is the poem. It's called Dormouse is Dreaming. Dark clouds settled around the Hanson home. Frightened children ran up to their rooms. Grandma barked out commands to the older ones, her shaky vibrato rumbling with authority. Lock the windows, close the doors, set the sugar boil out in the foyer. The dormouse peeped out from under the sugar bowl lid, where his dreamer's gear was entirely hid, blankets and pillows all covered with down, when he pulled his lid over and gave way to dreaming. Over the garden, the mighty clouds wept, while in the dream house, the dormouse slept, building worlds with his tiny mind, on hand knit doilies in sleep reclined. Little minds are quietly scheming in the hidden world of sleep. You can't erase the dormouse dreaming of worlds and concepts thimble deep. Grandma locks up her cupboards at night, oops, and grips her cane with knuckles white, prevent ye incursions of deeper meaning. Dormouse, keep us safe tonight in the shallow waters puddle wide, safe from the full moon's pull of tide, face snuggled in her soft hide. Okay. I feel like I don't have very much time yet left. So I feel like I'm gonna do one more poem because I feel like that's how much time I have. Um and this one is called Jack Frost in Summer. Okay. Feelings are delicate things. You can catch them in your hand like a butterfly. Feelings are fleeting and lovely. They can melt on your fingertips as snowflakes in winter. You flow through me. I am air. I am water. I am sound. In your arms, I melt in springtime. You hold me in sunlight and I burn. My emotions are bought and sold. King Midas turns my heart to gold. Your bright and shining eyes to coal. I phoenix burn, engulf my soul. I am Jack Frost in winter. I melt in your arms. seducing me cruelly with all of your charms. My Eros, my lover, my psyche, my frame, my infinite being who hasn't a name. You fill me like air, like water, like sound. Our love, our lust, our heat abound. You create me a lover who hasn't a name. You remake me until we are one and the same. I am reborn, a phoenix of flesh. I push through your skin and unburden my chest. I have given you all of me, a little at a time. All that is me, I have given to you. Take my eyes black as coal, my warm summer coat, to have and to hold. Keep me safe with your bed, locked away in your head. Okay, I think that's the amount of poems that fits in that time. Okay. um, okay, I must have more time. So I'm gonna read more poems because I have a whole book right here in front of me. So that being the case, I think that um yeah, I I could have gotten okay, this is pretty cool. So I'm gonna go ahead. Okay, thank you. Okay, so this one's called Syndrome of the Imposter, and it also was originally published in the Horror-Zine in fall of 2023. The Earl King arrived in the carriage one night. Adelaide a door found. She was replaced underground. The Pavinci Four also fell through a door, and when they grew up, they could go there no more. She sang the Earl King, all four operatic parts, having mastered her craft of the vocular arts. Frightened child, father unaware, omniscient alto of the distant narrator, a seductive voice orchestrates everything to the twisted machinations of the fairy king. It was inescapable, it seems, that as innocent children, we were replaced by changelings our parents never noticed. As for how sullen we became, they blamed it on our hormones, and the constancy of change poked us all imposters. A gremlin where I used to be sat loathsome in my room, cramming composition books full of poetry and adolescent clouds of gloom. Tragedy brings out the poem in me. I've always had a telltale heart, and I think it's been nice knowing me as my seams start to fall apart. Pills were given to adjust my brain chemistry to bring good old Jekyll back from the hide. My emotions surely made a monster of me, sporting fetid wounds on the inside. Obsessive crawling in the gutters of utterly destroyed notebooks filled with no space left between the lines. The overfilled state of my poetry book matching the overwrought state of my mind. Now I am being congratulated, and I look sideways in the mirror. What I've written in flights of insanity must now face a jury of peers. Will they somehow find out that the real me was lost in a sunken place, was stolen by the Earl King, and a changeling now wears my face? So that is about imposter syndrome, but also my my uh, great grandfather's first cousin was Marian Anderson, a famous Black opera contralto who did all four parts of the Earl King. So that's part of this poem. In fact, for that reason, yeah, because when you're related to someone super famous like that, it sometimes it makes the imposter syndrome kind of worse at times. Yeah. Um, so um, I think there's a little time left. So let's try one last poem, and this one's called The Mariner. There is no void left in which to scream, for the vast time space between is filled with shards of shooting stars, barbed wire, and scars of fishing line, entwined with flesh hooks digging in, the filament beneath your skin, electricity cracking through firmament, The waters bursting heaven sent, amused, abusing merriment, the nymphs all dancing fervent, massed beneath the glowering storm, a sundered flesh to keep you warm, fish food falling down below, tiny minnows consuming flesh, defined a Pisces Aries cusp, tip now an overflowing cup. And I am somehow I still have 2 more minutes. Okay. I'll find something. Uh sure, the next one in here. Dreams of the Dead. Overcome by a deep-seated sense of irrelevance, of unimportance in the face of things, she awakened from dreams of the dead. Her eyes filled with tears began to fade, a parade of memories in dreams unlaid. Those that she loved slipped from her fingertips. She contemplated these losses in dread, and her mind upon reality loosened its grip until she grasped onto tiny threads and strips of memories, fond and treasured bonds to comfort and keep her on this trip called life through stress and strife. But these haunted dreams solidify. She sees ghosts walking by. You're not real, she says, and shakes her head as she mumbles off to sleep, where more dreams of the dead invade her head, and night they silently creep. Wow. Okay. I feel like a lot of those are not like necessarily horror poems, but they have horror themes in them, even when they're not. Thank you, Mary. And thank you, Wendy, and thank you, Michelle. I appreciate it. Yeah, I'm gonna end there. Because I literally only have 1 minute left and I can't. I mean, I don't know. I guess I have one poem that's 1 minute long because it's very short. Wait, but I probably can't even find it. Oh, okay. This is from my other cat that died. It's called A Question. The cat followed me into the kitchen, his little trill of a mew coming up at the end like a question. He was begging for food. I gave him a little dish of cat soup, dosed with CBD so he would eat more. I remember when he used to call for me, his mew would sound like a hello. I wonder if he will ever do it again, his voice lilting up at the end like a question. Yeah, love my cats a lot. Thank you.